the wonderful Martin Gray. Thank you very much. And that, I understand, is a copy of your book, Martin.
Yeah, yes, and I made a thing which is really exciting, and it's partly and thanks everyone. It's really nice to be here, and it's nice to meet everyone. So the book is called The Prettyboys of Gangster Town, and it's partly set in Guildford, which is where I grew up. I live in Nottingham now, and when I was growing up, I couldn't wait to get away. I couldn't get away fast enough, and now I love coming back. You know, it's one of those things. You know, it's just kind of growing pains things. But Rodney got in touch with me, told me about this night, and asked if I could read the title poem from the book. So I'll be delighted to. So this is The Prettyboys of Gangster Town, and I hope you enjoy it. Get your swank on, mate. Get yourself down. The boys are on their way to G-Town. Be in Yates by 8 o'clock and learn to flirt with the ladies, you Spock. G was for Guildford. G was for gangster. And those were the words of our Al Capone when small town boys sought small town joys every Saturday night. From the Bridge Street bars to Bows just down, past every place to be in a 3-club town, we'd eyeball the bouncers to check our IDs at every room of sharp-shirted boners, sniffing rah-rahs with skirts as high as stoners with their endless mum and dad funds. Daddy's little dirt boxes deflowered during every night I never showed, with every failed attempt to plunder solved by a Sowners or a tactical chunder until 11. When everything's shut but Bows, the drink and Cinderellas. How we'd flight the alphas when they bring, how they taunt the homeless by Burger King, a mating call from all the fellas for our links affected lack of shame, and how tonight we're off the cocaine. But for small town 18 and all that it seemed, I lost my faith in their hand-me-down dreams, yet through all the torpedoes and a little bad sex, I'd always arise to the cries in their eyes as I learnt to party with a frown, with the pretty boys of Gangster Town. Their adulthood looked effortless. As younger me had been, in scruffy clothes, in scruffy Murphys, where the bouncers were bruisers, the bar was obscene, and the pints of pipe cleaner drowned every last thought for a pair of tenors and a photocopy of my passport that taught us innocence was not to be trusted on the day my dear old scruffies got busted. But the pretty boys were unaware of any other kind of care, and any time I'd hark on back, that dear old scruffies came under attack. I tried to copy how the pretty boys lived, with every last fiver every cash point would give, on semi-alert for the tossers and the tools from the daily misery of secondary school, and wondering if anyone would ever understand why their town was far from a wonderland. Just the same old streets of photocopied times where it mattered whose dads earned more than mine. See, I learnt those nights. I learnt them well. I learnt that Gangster Town was hell, that small towns make big choices, that small towns amplify small voices, that small town misfits finish last, that small towns trap you and their future and your past. Gangster Town, where I was from, Gangster Town, where I didn't belong, a town that years ago ceased to exist when the pretty boys abandoned station, leaving the night to a new generation unaware of a ghost of a stranger called me, who meets my eyes with a party frown when I take a stroll down Bridge Street through the remnants of Gangster Town. My ghost looks intently as I grow older at the former sight of the chip on my shoulder that put my roots under secret duress when they failed at his idea of success, as if no other town had pretty boys out drinking their cares in awful bars, and no other town would have made me slate the fate I found infused and fading convolutions of teenage confusion. But although I'm locked to that party frown, I clutch a key to my small Surrey town, to the nights behind the Bridge Street walls that built walls in my mind, to how somewhere in all those hand-me-down dreams I found everybody's dreams but mine. A fallow frown copyright of a little place some teenagers once called Gangster Town. Thank you.
Wonderful, Martin. It was terrific hearing you reading about the Badlands of Guildford.
Thank you.
Somebody said something about them, you know. It's time.
It's